Welcome back to the channel. I got Josh from American Lease to come on and talk about parts and software and ownership going forward and the future of Fisker vehicles as well. Let's get straight to the interview. I have Josh from American Lease. Thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations on at least the completion of this.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Adam. Happy to be here.
Really, I just wanted to get into a couple different things. You made a Reddit post, which was really nice for the community. I verified there that you guys were indeed American Lease.
Right.
Reddit's kind of weird like that. But you mentioned parts and mechanical support. Talk about that.
So we are working very closely with the Owners Association. The purpose of that post was really to promote the FOA, which I think is a great organization with a lot of very smart and really well-educated people in the EV space that sit on the board. They're very well-intentioned. They want to help all the owners. They want to do it in a very organized, methodical way, which I find very impressive. And we've been communicating for around a month to kind of brainstorm how we could collaborate, right? So there's obviously the scale, right? So we go from a 3,000 car fleet when we negotiate prices with potential suppliers to a 7,000 car fleet. As far as software support, that's really going to be something the FOA has to sort out. Our purchase agreement only allows us access to our cars. I cannot touch anybody else's cars besides the cars that American Lease owns.
So that's kind of something they got to work out with Fisker.
It's something they have to work out with Fisker. With that being said, if the framework is laid for American Lease to transition their cars to their own technology tower, then the FOA should be able to do it. So anything to do with software, back-end support, anything along those lines, that's something that has to happen between the FOA and Fisker. But we're all working collaboratively, the team at Fisker as well. No one's pushing back. Everybody's aware of what the owners are potentially facing, and we're all constructively trying to have communications and figure out a solution.
And obviously, this is an advantage for owners because now they're working with scale, right? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the owners are essentially a large organization or a large fleet similar to us. They're a little geographically scattered, right? But if we have to order floor mats, they can go to a supplier and say, we need 1,000 floor mats instead of one person trying to source it themselves. They have a lot of buy power, and they have a lot of support with the people that are on the top of the Owners Association who have already connected with suppliers and have already connected with some of the tech team at Fisker.
Right. And also, I really want to make it clear, especially for the viewers, that you guys are a fleet. So you also mentioned in the Reddit post, you're not dealing with individual customers. So let's focus on that for a second.
Correct. We are a commercial fleet operator. We're only geographically located in New York. So any support, any relationships with vendors, any relationships with suppliers, that would all be in collaboration with the FOA. So again, as I said in my Reddit post, I strongly encourage every Fisker owner to make contact with and join the FOA. That's their best resource for keeping their car serviceable and on the road and connected. They're really a great organization.
So basically, the deal is Fisker Owners Association is going to try to look to build a network of maybe sales and repair and then work with you through that. Am I getting that right?
I think we're still sorting through what the parts supply and pipeline would look like, whether it's going to be parts that we would stand up a distribution and those shops would purchase from us, or the Owners Association would have their own stock. That'll kind of sort itself out in the coming days. We're going to have to manufacture parts for our fleet regardless of everything else, just due to the nature of our business and how often our cars get into accidents. So once we're creating that pipeline of parts, we're certainly happy to create some type of a distribution or a co-sharing type of relationship with the Owners Association.
And then finally, obviously, you do work with scale. You are a fleet, but this is also a business. So it's not going to be like a wholesale thing where your price is their price. This is effort you're putting in to source these parts and find it out. And then you would obviously source them at some kind of monetary benefit to you. Does that make sense?
If we were the ones who were actually purchasing it, if we're able to leverage our scale and our purchase amounts are lower across the board for everyone, and the Owners Association decides that they want to fund and keep their own parts repository, then I wouldn't charge them anything. If we're going to have to create the parts, warehouse them, and distribute them, then obviously that's at that point a for-profit business.
And you really touch right there on the fact that none of this is really certain. But like I said, the strength is there in the fact that you are now a fleet. You are owners. These vehicles are under ownership, and there's going to be a concerted effort to source parts and to mechanically keep these things on the road. And then obviously the other end is going to be how the Owners Association, at least through you guys, is going to communicate. And Fisker is obviously involved here too.
What happens with Fisker, the software, the IP, where that goes, how the cars stay connected, I think that's still a TBD.
Finally, we have kind of a opportunity to celebrate a little bit. Are you excited? And personally, what's your take? Any thoughts?
Well, we are excited. We worked for almost 4 or 5 months on this deal to get it done. We've gone through every different scenario, every change with the court, from a outside of bankruptcy deal to an in bankruptcy deal. But at the end of the day, we think that the Ocean is a great car fundamentally. There's some kinks to be worked out. There's some supply chain stuff to be worked out. But we're in a business where we're mandated to turn over our fleet to completely EV by 2030. And we think this is a great way to get a leg up with a vehicle that certainly for the price is really superior to anything else that's on the market.
That's absolutely true, especially at the price. I mean, not just your price, but the market price right now.
Correct.
Obviously, finally, are you guys going to be doing any development, software, things of that nature in-house, or is that something you're not allowed to talk about?
It's something I'm probably it's too soon to speak about, and then it's also something that people have to be aware of that is extremely regulated, right? I've seen people talking about open sourcing the car. You can't do it. This is all safety items that were certified by by NHTSA. There's regulation around everything. So, any improvements we have would probably be more like, reducing the launch mode in the car, because the car is going to be an Uber, rather than changing any of the safety features on the vehicle. We will be in touch with Magna and the developers and a lot of the third-party companies that were involved in the creation of the car. And if there are things that we can do to improve the car through hardware updates, I think that's more of an option for us. But the fundamental software in the car, I don't think anybody really wants to change, or they can severely brick their cars.
Is it more of a bug fix standpoint? And then what other limitations or opportunities do you have as far as software?
So we still have to do some exploration as far as the software, what can be done, what's legal, what would pass Highway Traffic Administration safety standards. We have no intention, nor do we have the need of having self-driving or full adaptive cruise control. It's not our customer demand. I think that's going to be something that's going to have to be explored independently by the owners as far as the improvements to the car they may want to do. But it's complicated. You're dealing with a car that's on public roads and is regulated, and all the software updates, including all the bug fixes, have already been signed off on. I'm not quite sure what could happen in the future as far as that.
So we've talked about opportunities. We've talked about kind of what the parts thing is going to be, at least kind of what the options are. Talk about New York City and the Ocean itself. How do you feel about it?
So we like the Ocean for the city. It's a high-riding SUV. It's got all-wheel drive. I think it's well geared for New York winters. We just think it's a win all around. So assuming that we can work out the connectivity issues and we can work out the part supply, we think we have a real winner on our hands as far as our customers and ultimately their passengers.
And do you look to acquire more into the fleet? Like, as, let's say, Oceans enter the used market, are you looking to acquire those or not?
I mean, absolutely. We don't want to offend anybody with offers, knowing what we paid for the vehicles. But if there are any Ocean owners that are out there and they know what we paid for the vehicles and they would like to get rid of their cars that are in good condition, we're certainly happy to speak to them.
Okay. Well, I mean, really, as far as right now, I feel like that's a really comprehensive update of what's happened, and obviously many things to come. Bankruptcy's not over. Everybody thinks that this deal went through and now bankruptcy's over.
No, not at all.
Very complicated process, and many determinations to be made in the future. Josh, if there's nothing else, I can't thank you enough for being on the show, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Thank you for having me, Adam. We'll speak soon.
No problem. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, as well as any questions you may have about Fisker going forward. I'll be happy to dig around and see if I can't find you an answer. Join Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to videos. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, smash the like button.
Thank you.